Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, chapter 5, text 35. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. cireṇa dvārakāṁ gantum udyato yadu-jīvanaḥ kāku-stutibhir āvṛtya sva-gṛhe rakṣyate nayā. Krishna, the life of the Yadus, tried for a long time to leave for Dvārakā, but by enveloping him with plaintive prayers, she kept him in her home. Sri Krishna had stayed with the Pandavas, this is the purport, throughout the war between Yudhishthira and Duryodhana. But he was also yadu-jīvanaḥ, the life of the Yadus. So without his presence, the residents of Dvārakā seemed almost dead. Krishna tried to leave Hastinapur to return to the Yadus, but Mother Prita dissuaded him with her prayers and induced him to stay a few months longer. Those prayers of Prita are included in the first canto, chapter 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Taksur Unmulatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Svapatantikam Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Panitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. We've been on a little bit of a longer than expected marathon. Still, people are still coming. And yesterday was a very, very special day. There's something very special about the dust of Vrindavan, especially the dust of Govardhan, that reveals a very special place, the most beautiful place. And we had such a nice program yesterday with Paramananda, his son Kana, who is totally attached to Govardhan now. And Bhakti Shastra and Yogamaya, two young ladies who come once a week, stay over near here to hear my class. The real beauty of Vrindavan, both here and in the spiritual world, in the spiritual world, that beauty is manifest externally, but the real beauty is the hearts of the devotees, the real Brijvasis, who have svabhavika bhakti within their hearts. And I don't know, we just entered into their world. I think I'm going to write about it. Anyway, let me write about it, but it was really just wonderful. And again, we went today around. It's just so nice. That's what I really think about Vrindavan, that love that's in the people's hearts. If you're fortunate enough to experience it, it can enter your heart and give you a similar mood of devotion. Yeah. It's almost I just got back out. And so Narada's journey, I explained that many times, that like the Bhagavatāṁ, and this is a summary of the Bhagavatāṁ, again, the story may be different, but the message is the same. And the Bhagavatāṁ is ultimately its message, which can be contracted or expanded according to the audience. Just like Prabhupada expands the Bhagavatāṁ. And that's a way to understand something more deeply, where it's expanded. And Sanatana Goswami in the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta contracts the Bhagavatāṁ. That's also a tool for learning a particular subject, just like the Yoga Sutras, whether it's the Narada Bhakti Sutras or the Vedanta Sutra, or the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. The sutras codify the philosophy for the purpose of memorizing it. That's actually a technique of memory. Kṛṣṇa, I announced that he gave a course, and he gave it also in Puri, which included techniques to learn prayers. And it's a technique that actors use to learn their lines. You just write the first letter so it both gives you a hint of what but activates your memory to memorize it. Without that, you may not even get to that stage of activating the memory, because you won't remember it. So sutras are like that. They're codified. They codify the philosophy for the purpose. You memorize the whole thing, but it's codified in a way that if you know the code or the sutra, then you expand the whole philosophy. Anyway, what I'm just saying is what the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta is this message can be here it's contracted very, very for a purpose, because people, I'm not attracted to going through the whole thing. And it may be more difficult in that way to grasp the theme without a teacher, or with a teacher, it'll take longer. We see that in the Bhagavatam itself is defying the Vedas. As the sages of Naimisharanya say, Buri Burini Karmani. There's so many things and so many works and so many activities. Now tell us the ultimate and absolute good. Sometimes people don't have the mental faculty or the ability to go through things. A very, very long way. Um, um, the Bhagavatam, in one sense, is a real condensed of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, a real condensed presentation of bhakti. And we see it through the different personalities that we meet. This is an audience. I feel I'm just repeating myself because I've told this to you many, many times. But we're following it through Narada and his quality of utsahan, enthusiasm. And enthusiasm comes from faith. Enthusiasm comes from faith, and faith comes from an initial experience. So Narada knows he has that bhakti, but he wants the topmost bhakti. And he knows that's in the hearts of the devotees. So he's looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. And that's really such an important message for us, that we search for bhakti and we search for those devotees who have it. Because that's the way we get it. And that's what I'm experiencing here in Vrindavan with these. I'm not talking about scholars or gurus. I'm just talking about ordinary people, people that go around the hill every day. The particular family that I'm very close with now, amazing, going into their house on the side of Govardhan Hill. They have, their family has been cooking rotis and sabji, mostly rotis, but cooking for the sadhus who go around Govardhan every day. They do madhu kari to do madhu like a bee. That's where you can eat. You can take a little from each house, so they know which houses which Brahmin houses cook the rotis. Some families have this tradition. This family has it for like at least 10 generations. They've been cooking the rotis. So we went to their house and they were just so happy to see all five of us. And it was wild. They had a television screen up where they were showing the wedding of their daughter. I was invited to the wedding. I couldn't go. They were pretty upset with me, but that's another story. They forgave me. So when we came in, we heard this music going upstairs. What is this? So they were all watching in the wedding and they're waiting for us. They want us to see it. But as we're there, sadhu after sadhu kind of comes up the steps. So you don't, you kind of don't see their whole body the way the steps are, it's like, and they're so effulgent. There's one, I wrote about him, there's one sadhu, Chaitanya Baba, for the last 36 years, is walking around twice. Somebody crippled and continue to walk. And they just look effulgent. And we get that same bhakti from the Bhagavatam, from the expression of the devotees in the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. What you're doing now, and I appreciate it so much, studying with me, basically, we can share the devotion of the great devotees and feel it. The prayojana, ultimately, the ultimate goal is to feel our connection with Krishna, which is prema, or love. And this is our experience of reading the Bhagavatam and the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. And now, Narada, having heard from Hanuman that the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy are the Pandavas, because their relationship is more intimate and forceful than Hanuman, which is wonderful, but it's reverent. And reverent devotion goes through some social and intellectual considerations, generally, dealing with the superior. So anyway, the Pandavas have this forceful devotion, and Narada is so enthusiastic to meet them. And he comes into that assembly, and they want to worship him, but he takes the paraphernalia and worships them. And he's talking to Yudhisthira, and the first thing he does is explain who is Krishna. Because in that sense, it's so merciful to have Krishna as your Istadev, because it's the manifestation of God that's revealing his inner self more forcefully, which is the whole essence of Raganuga Bhakti, or Ragatmaka Bhakti, the Bhakti of those in Braj that's perfected. It's more familial, it's more intimate, it's more forceful, it's more sweet. And the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, the mission of it is to highlight that and make and offer us to almost take our birthright, being born in the sense of being born or initiated or coming in contact with the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to give Swabhakti Swayam, came to give his own devotion. His own devotion, which is Krishna taking the form of his devotee to experience his own form and his ecstatic love. So it was glorifying Krishna. And he was so enthusiastic that he couldn't stop. And he presented this image of because he couldn't stop, he couldn't control his tongue. It just was so forceful. And I mentioned that, I think, last Sunday, that Prabhupada was discussing this section where the gopis were criticizing Krishna. I was in it was in Dallas, in the backyard of someone home. Prabhupada was sitting every night. In fact, there's a picture of me before I shaved up as a young man with a mustache sitting there. If anybody knows where that picture is and can send it with me, someone revealed it to me, of sitting there. listening, and as Prabhupada says, reading Krishna book, and how the gopis are criticizing Krishna, and he's laughing. They cannot help but talk about Krishna. In other words, they're criticizing Krishna for abandoning them or treating them, mistreating them, but they can't stop. They can't stop. They're so attracted to Krishna. Yeah, because the worst thing is when someone doesn't care and they just break off the relationship. But when someone is or an argument just stops talking, but when they keep on talking and talking, it's because they're still attracted. So his tongue, he talks to his tongue. And then tells his tongue, you're going to fail because the glories of Krishna is unlimited. And that's the natural conception we have of the divine, that there's no limit, there's no laws ruling it, there's no restriction on his potential. Just like if we're in a race, we're restricted by our physical limits, our intellect in terms, we may be so brilliant, but it's limited, but God is unlimited. So just I mentioned the forest of Vrindavan. Each day there's a new forest. How many pastimes, how many incarnations? It's unlimited. And God's glories is expanding and his beauty is expanding. He has the topmost beauty, and at the same time, his beauty is expanding. So he says, anyway, the better use of the tongue, that you can really appreciate and actually see, and it's manifest before you, the object of your glorification is the devotees. And again, the genius of Sanatana Goswami, how he's setting this up to glorify the Pandavas, which again, we get to see. What is bhakti? And now, who does he begin with? He begins with Queen Kunti, because she's the mother of the Pandavas. And we know her famous prayer, Vipata Shantu Tashashvat, Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. Let these calamities happen again and again, because you're there for us. Meaning, the association, the relationship, the service of Krishna is worth any trouble you have to undergo to get it. And that's faith, and that's what the great devotees have, and that's what the great devotees have realized. That's what they feel in their hearts. So Queen Kunti, Krishna is so valuable. I'm in love with Krishna. He's so attractive. What is it like to have such love for someone who's all attractive? And that attractiveness, it just brings that love out of your heart and brings that desire to serve. The heart is reaching its perfection. Its culmination is its perfection. Its purpose, telos, in service. And that service is love. And that service is our relationship with God. So he's saying, look, this Yudhisthira is why I'm here, why I want the Sanga of the Pandavas, how great they are. Yudhishthirayapi Mahapratishta Loka Dvayot Krishto Tara Pradatta Tatatara Sandra Vidadinacha Bimayate Natmana Eva Kirti. Krishna bestowed upon Yudhisthira the highest prestige. So maybe this is Marge Prickett speaking to his mother again, maybe. Krishna bestowed upon Yudhisthira the highest prestige, greater than that of anyone else in the upper and lower worlds, and by favors like allowing Bhima to kill Jarastan, Krishna granted Bhima unequal fame. So here, how Krishna so loves these devotees, the Pandavas, that he arranges for their glorification. Let me see, the lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way. Lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way to perform pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one could cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from Zoda's mouth. Attachment to lotus feet is the perfection to fulfill all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic praying emanates, from him ignorance destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master, the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of devotees. O master, be merciful to us. Give us the shade of the lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over. That's what I was looking for. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. So Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. So who he's glorifying? He glorifies Yudhisthira and the Rajasuya sacrifice to enhance his reputation. It's like the topmost thing in all the universe. Nayam lokas tyagyasya kutanya kuru. Without sacrifice, there is no happiness in this life or the next. There's no happiness in this life or the next. And this is the greatest sacrifice. And he has Yudhisthira arrange it, and then the city of Hastinapur, or Mathura, was attacked again and again and again by Jarasandha, and he empowers Bhima to kill him. Bhagavan ayam Arjunas chatat priyastakena gata prasidatam the Purana Satai Parayaha Mahima Stotim Amas. I don't know the name. Yeah. Saintly Arjuna became renowned throughout the world for his intimate friendship with Krishna. I can never sing all the glories of Arjuna, even if I recite hundreds of Puranas. So this is Narada actually talking. And he called, and in the verse he says what? Bhagavan, godly Arjuna. So generally reserved for God, but sometimes his great devotee. Nakula Sahadevascha Yadrik Priti Paravyamao Agrapuja Vicharado Sarvaistad Vritam Ikshitam. And as for Nakula and Sahadev, everyone has seen many times how fixed they are in love for Krishna, as shown, for example, by how those twins behaved in deliberations on whom to worship first in the Rajasuya. Purport: the twins Nakula and Sahadev worked together so closely that whatever either of them did could as well have been done by the other, and everything either of them did was impelled by pure love for Krishna. Let's just let's just read through these various glorifications. Lord Hari personally sanctified Sri Draupadi's hair during the Rajasuya sacrifice and other special festivals. He would call Draupadi dear friend. He relieved her of fear of Atri's son Durvas and fear of others, including Dushasana. He removed all her sorrow. So I think the audience knows the stories of Draupadi. So now he's glorifying Pandavas, and now their wife Draupadi. Krishna relished Sri Vidura's porridge and organized a celebration of Sri Bhishma's passing away. Please therefore judge your own standing from how in many controversies both Vidura and Bhishma took your side. So one is known by the company one keeps and by the people who have blessed him and the extent of sacrifice they have done in doing so. So, of course, Vidura was very partial and he got in trouble. Or rather say, Krishna was very partial to him. And even though Vidura is the son of a low-born Sudra, he, in this famous story where he goes and he eats the very simple, humble food, praising it as very tasty. When something is cooked with devotion, even the most simple thing can be the most tasty. And the thing I remember is when, is he here today? No. When Henry invited me, I told you, wonderful, can't believe how merciful he was to me. He invited me to the 20th anniversary of Banabihari, Jamunadev's deity, which was done with such fineness. And I stayed there a few days. And Joe Cayley, who's on the thing, was the assistant of Jamuna. So that was so nice. And Jamuna cooked oatmeal, and it was just ambrosial. Something that's perfect is rasika. It's relishable in the finest way. So Vidura, just like tomorrow, I will go to Vrindavan and take some people to the hermitage of Sri Dharmali. Actually, Paramananda was with a group and they had 40 people. I wasn't there, but I can arrange it remotely. And they went there to the hermitage of Sri Dharmali. And I believe somehow the group that was with me that went back to Vrindavan, it's just the way, the system is if you come to the Holy Dham under guidance and stay fully engaged in Panchanga Bhakti, Krishna just opens up door after door after door that you'll never see. So after coming from here, Govardhan Lal and Jai Subhadra and Lagima, and there's Damodar, Jai Subhadra's son, and the rest, I don't know, the other few people that were with them, that they went back and somehow Paramananda and his group was going there again, and there were 40 people. And Ramananda said that it was the best he's tasted yet. And when he came, there was a picture. I gave them a picture, and they also have one, a picture of Sridhar Mali, they keep with a garland right where he would sit. And the mother came out, his wife, and they surrounded her in the middle of a circle. And Madhura Puri, who was also leading the group, began to sing, Yeya Nilo Premadana Karuna Prachur. And they began to sing. And mostly these were new people. And most said that this was the most memorable experience they had in visiting the Holy Dham. Most memorable experience they had. And she began to cry. And then, they had it together to serve so many people. It was wonderful, wonderful. I lost my train of thought, but we'll stop here for many reasons. Jumanajaya, what point did you like today? You can start that off for us as you do.
Hey, Krishna Raj, and thank you again for bringing us. Every time you talk about Sridhar, I just remember the last year when I was there and the times before and seeing his face. So it brings me back there. So thank you for bringing us that. But I was really caught by something. We know well the prayers of Queen Kunti, but the way you said this time, or the way I was hearing it, is that the way in those difficult times she sought shelter, where oftentimes when people are in difficult times, that's the time they walk away from Krishna and try to divert themselves in the material world. But Kunti, she walks towards him, and that's such a beautiful thing. And for me, that gave a whole nother level of beautifulness to her prayer. Sort of like the people of Vrindavan, when Indra starts doing his thing, they run towards Krishna. And so that just really resonated with me today for some
That's
reason.
a beautiful point that I think they call it when we get in trouble. I'm not sure. I think it's maybe called default mechanism. So whether you open up the computer and go to social media, or whether you go to the refrigerator, in your troubles, it really tells where you, in your heart, have your shelter. Okay. Gail, you have anything to question today?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. Yeah. Can you describe again that picture? I think I might have shown that picture that you asked for one time, but I'm not sure that's the one.
It's a picture where I'm sitting in the garden with Prabhupada.
Oh.
And I had that picture, but after I was shaved up. But this is before I was shaved up. And I'm sitting in the garden with Prabhupada. In the back, you could see me if you could recognize me. Someone gave me that picture.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of a different picture. Okay.
There's two pictures. One, I'm in Prabhupada's room.
Yeah, that's the one that I had shown.
The teachers. That's one picture. Yeah. The other picture is I'm in the gardens in Dallas where I joined. Both pictures from Dallas, but I'm in the gardens with Prabhupada in the backyard of someone. Prabhupada's sitting on a rocking chair and he's talking about Krishna book, and I'm sitting there.
Before you shaved up?
Before I shaved up. I never saw that before. I never even knew it existed until a few years ago.
Yeah, I would love to see that one. Okay, Maharaj.
I would too. Anybody else like to say hello, make a comment, share a reflection?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here. So great to hear from you and see you in Govardhan.
Yeah, I heard that you got to go with them when they went again to the road.
I did. Yes.
So you joined up with who well, yeah, it was just your group. The rest stayed in Vrindavan. Okay.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
Where you guys going?
Going to my doctor about an hour away to
Okay.
get my treatment today. But we loved hearing just remembering going to Sridhar Mali's house with you. It was just glorious to remember. Thank you. It was really a bright spot in a
Yeah.
pretty dim day. So thanks.
Right. I remember you would bring those really pious students from Iowa. They were like so almost innocent type people, you know?
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
Hi,
Okay.
Krishna.
Thank you. Herbo. Good. Okay. Great. Who else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much. I love when you speak about Vrindavan and Govardhan, and today I'm so much impressed when you spoke about the hearts of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta and their love, and that it can go into our hearts, and about the dust. Thank you.
It's hard to find the real Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛtas, but I know some. And we went into their house, and that's what impressed me, is that there's so much love. You know, the grandmother's there, and the grandfather's there, and their children are there, and their grandchildren are there, and they're serving God together, because their thing in that house is to serve the sadhus that come to the door every day between like 11 and 12, and serve them and make so many rotis, such nice rotis and things, and it's so much joy. And I actually was writing one Monday morning greetings, and then I started just writing another one today because I wanted to see if I can recall that. And it begins with a remembrance of myself in 1974 when I was in San Francisco at the rakṣyate, and Prabhupada was on that stage with that white sweater and red garland. And then he gave a lecture into it was Golden Gate Park, thousands and thousands of young people. And he said, you know, there's black liberation, and there's women's liberation, there's gay liberation, and grape growers in this liberation, and this movement and that movement. And then with such power, he said, talking about Krishna consciousness, this is the movement of the living entity. And it was like, I remember it to this day, it was vibrating in the thing. So it's not that people shouldn't have their rights, but that's the ultimate bondage. The ultimate bondage is, you know, the material body, and sarva padi vinir muktam tatparatvaina nirmalam rishikesh sevanam bhakta uttama. The real, you know, liberation is, you know, muktir hitva yata rupam sarupena vivat, you know, getting your identity with Krishna. So I really remember that. But in that, I also remembered the image I had of just being with these joyous families in a traditional type of mode. And then when we came from their houses, all the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta ladies were sitting in front of their houses because it was like the spring had just started today, actually. And they were so joyful and talking and laughing. And when we came, joking, and, you know, and it just like this devotion and love, and, you know, and Radhe, and just contrasting what's happening today in the modern world, where families are falling apart, and there's only nuclear families, you know. So, and there's so much incredible amount of increase in mental illness and distress, and, you know. So I'm just saying, it just looks so a superior way of living, even on a material platform, you know. So anyway, that was my thoughts. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, just Govinda. Thank you for class.
Haribo.
Haribo.
You also went to the rotis again?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Yeah, we're
With-
lucky
with-
enough that Raghunath set it up. So we were with Raghunath in the morning,
Yeah.
and then he invited us. So yeah, it was great.
Wow. Oof. Okay, good. Anybody else say hello?
Hi, Krishna Gurudev. Thank you very much for the class.
Okay, every time I
Rabat
see you
Sundari.
you're getting better and better. That's nice. Thank you. Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay, a few more.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Srila Dhanurdhara here. Thanks for the class.
Haribo, are you missing your mother?
Yeah, I do, but we're hoping to see each other in GV soon.
You're going to GV?
Yeah, very soon. It's
For what?
it's my friend's wedding, so I plan to go there, and my mom will come there also.
Your friend is getting married in the GEV?
Yeah, she lives there. Yeah.
Did you have accommodation there?
Yeah, they will provide us for 3 days, but then we will stay longer. And yeah,
It may get hot there.
I think it will be very hot. Yeah.
Okay, Haribo.
Thank you,
Haribo.
Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is Samala.
Amala, nice to see you.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, thank you very much.
Shalom. We pray for peace for everyone. Okay.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else say hello?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Narmasaki here. Thank you for the class.
Really need to connect soon. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
No, nice to see you too. Okay. Hare Krishna. Good. Very nice.
Thank you for your class. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Thank you. Good. Anybody else say hello? All right. Anyway, I'm looking at the list. I see all the nice people that have attended. I looked at it at the beginning. Okay.